The BBC telling their staff in an email that they're, quote, determined to fight President Trump's legal threats after airing a misleading edit of his January 6, 2021 speech. Our own Jerry Baker worked at the network in the 1980s and 90s, criticizing his former employer in the Wall Street Journal, saying, quote, their orthodoxy is familiar on race, gender, and sexuality, immigration, and national sovereignty, climate alarmism, Western civilization, and international affairs. It's this very presence in the homes of almost the entire British population that makes the BBC so unsuitable for a diverse democracy. No organization should have that much influence. Here to discuss this is The Sun's own editor-at-large, Harry Cole. So rivalry aside, it's hard to imagine. I couldn't believe this. 94% of homes in Britain are exposed to the BBC, and 74% of Britons use the BBC in some way every single week. That's power. How are they wielding that power?
Well, as you've seen in the last couple of weeks, not that well. It's worse than that, Brian. I have to tell you, if you don't buy your TV license, if you don't, sign up for your teletax, you risk prison. You are forced to watch the BBC. It's not that it's people are flocking to it out of choice. It's that they are forced with criminalisation if they don't play by the rules. And so it's a remarkable British institution. There are great things about the BBC. Do not get me wrong. There are brilliant journalists there. Some of them are friends of mine. Some of them are rivals of mine. But the culture of the place is the problem. Now, it used to be just that it was BBC drama that was, in a BBC drama, the bad guy in any drama was never, was never an Islamist. It was always a right-wing terrorist. Little subtle things like that. The culture, the comedy, the right were always the butt of every joke, and that's fine. They're lefties. Okay, we get that. But it's when it bleeds into BBC News, which is the gold standard. They say they are the gold standard of world journalism. It's when that bias bleeds into the news, it becomes a major problem.
So, Harry, for example, I always watch the BBC because I get up in the middle of the night to do the show, and they have great stuff. And I just watched a great reporter do stuff in Iraq. I saw scenes in Iraq I couldn't get anywhere else and thought, wow, I appreciate that story. But what I also find stunning is that how many people seem outside of the BBC, when I watch Sky and others, absolutely happy that Trump is taking on the BBC. They want to see him go through with this lawsuit for them. They want more than just Trump's situation exposed. Can you explain that?
Well, I think they're being slightly caught up in a wider movement in Britain. There's almost the sort of beginnings of what we saw happen in America in the run-up to the election of Donald Trump. People are fed up. They've had enough. They've had enough of institutions. They've had enough of the courts, the judges, Parliament, politicians, and they see the BBC as almost an extension of the British state. And part of that backlash towards it is they're fed up with being told what to think. They're fed up with being told, what correct opinions are. And the BBC almost embodies that sort of group mindset of liberal smugness that is rammed down people's throats day in, day out.
It's amazing how much our issues are like your issues. Sometimes you beat us to the problem, and sometimes you're second. Another thing when it comes to legal immigrations, since Starmer took over, they're up for these small boats coming over to your country are up about 50%. And now they're making some changes, sweeping asylum overhauls because of the people. This is one of the quotes from the new program. Residency wait now extended from 5 to 20 years. Refugee status, temporary. Return people if their home country deems safe. Officials can seize valuable cash to offset the costs. Tightening family reunification rules and reducing taxpayer-funded benefits. And different language, different approach, same objective. If you're going to come here the right way, and asylum's got to be stricter. How is this being received?
Well, I think a large part of people think, this is almost like sort of the stable door being slammed shut far, far too late. What I would say, look, it's better late than never. Look at what Donald Trump did when he came back into office last year. He was elected around a similar time as Keir Starmer. He got that southern border under control early. He gripped it. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer has seen legal migration is coming down a little bit, but illegal migration, as you say, is rocketing. Right. Now, the biggest problem Starmer has, the British Prime Minister, is he's got to get this through his party, who are very, very queasy about this. His MPs are far, far further to the left than he is. He's got a new hardline Home Secretary who's implementing some of this stuff, but whether his party will wear it remains to be seen, and whether the public genuinely believe a guy who once said that he didn't believe in borders and has spent years and years campaigning for open borders and for human rights legislation is really the guy to fix the crisis. I suspect the British public will take this with a pinch of salt.
Absolutely. And it's the same thing, too. Some people say Joe Biden was never this weak on the border, but the left wing of his party that got him into office forced him to do that. But you make the call. It's amazing how the issues are the same. Hope it works out. Harry, thanks for fighting for doing the right thing.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.